Welcome to KSPB Pebble Beach 91.9 FM. Today we're here with President Vanya Quiñones at CSUMB, and I'm going to be asking her a couple questions. The first question is, why did you choose to work at CSUMB?
So I'm very committed to public education. I work for almost 27 years, or 24 years at CUNY, City University of New York, which is a public institution. And from there, I went to a private institution for a couple of years, and I decided that I wanted to go back to work back on a public institution. I believe and I'm committed to the powerful effects of education, especially that is affordable. And I think that public institutions provide a strong product that the students can get a great education without a lot of financial debt at the end of their education. So that was number one. Number two was CSUMB is a Hispanic serving institution. And obviously, as you see on my background and my accent, I'm Puerto Rican. And so I truly believe that I wanted to provide access to other Latin or Latinx students to ensure that they move forward. So I thought that was another thing that really inspired me to come here.
What made you want to get a degree in neurobiology and physiology?
That's a weird thing, isn't it? I'm a molecular neuroscientist. So what I do is I study how gene expression control behavior. So for example, what are the 6 differences on gene expression that will control behavior specifically? And so when I was studying as an undergrad, there was no such a thing as neuroscience. That's how old I am. I'm before internet and before neuroscience. And we all knew that the brain at that time was very important to control behavior, but it was almost like a black box. And neuroscience was a field that was made by many different areas studying the brain. And then around the 1980s, we decided to all come together and finally make this important area. So I was a cell molecular biologist. I was studying how cells communicate. And so I thought the most important communication of cells is in the brain, and how to understand how communication controls activity. So that was something that I was fascinated with. And at that time, on 1984, oh my God, that's so old, one of the few programs that had neuroscience on their title was at Rutgers. So I went to that program and started studying there. So sometimes it's nice to look at your life as a reflection. And so I have the ability to see a field that grew from almost nothing to be one of the most important fields that we have right now in science. And one of the things that I studied was 6 differences on how behaviors happen. So why male and females are different, and how hormones affect the female expression of behaviors. And so that was kind of like a unique and rebel thing to do at that time. And so it's very refreshing in my life to see how my research have impacted future research regarding sex differences. So, it's good to start sometimes from the beginning and see how things grow.
Yeah. Going back on your childhood, what was it like growing up in Puerto Rico?
So I lived in Puerto Rico until I was 21, and I finished my master's. So it was like my childhood and my early adulthood from 18 to 21. So I think that as any Hispanic family, Puerto Rican values are based on family. They're really based on listening to your uncles, playing with your cousins, living on this secluded life that is really based on family interactions. So I think that it was pretty important for me to be raised on a place that education was important, but family values equally important. I come from a farm. My grandparents own a farm. And so I always tell people, if you want to be successful, follow the farm values, in which the whole community work for the crop, and you're respectful to each other, and you ensure that every single person, regardless of your background. If you're in a farm, you work together. So I think that having that as a background has really helped me professionally, just thinking how we work as a community and that every single thing we do, everybody has an important position on the farm or in this case on our work. I also like in a more serious part of how it is to be raised in Puerto Rico. When I came to America when I was 21 to study my PhD, that was the first time that I really faced racism. And that was the first time that I really felt that I was different than other people. And so I always wonder if I got those kind of reactions or interactions early on my life, what would have happened. So I think that by being raised in Puerto Rico and then moving here as an adult, I was kind of sheltered of a lot of assumptions that people have on race and ethnicity, etc. And so I always wonder how it is for some of our students or some of our members of community that have racisms early on in their life. Because even with all the coping mechanisms that I have as an adult, it was kind of hard to face some of the discriminations that I faced early in my career.
How is California different from New York?
So I think that I've been thinking about this for a while. I moved from New York last year, August 15 of 2022. I moved August 14 and I start August 15, so I only had a couple of hours to come here and adapt to this new behavior, this new place. I think that it's a completely different culture, but yet it's the same. So it's, you have the same TV shows, you have the same franchise, you have the same stores, it's the same feeling, it's the same language, but then yet it's very different. And it's not just the weather, it's actually a cultural difference. New Yorkers are very direct and very fast. And I think it comes part of like we're commuting and running and trying to get to places, and we don't stop and sometimes look at the beauty of things. We're just running. And I also think that one of the major differences is that in New York, it's all about work. And here is more work to support your life. So it's kind of like a semantic but a real difference that, work is not the center of life. It's important, but there's other things. And to a certain extent, in California, it's more about the community and the environment. But that's a big generalization. I just don't want New Yorkers to feel bad about this. It's just kind of like, but there is very big differences on culture, and there is very big difference on how we approach things. And so more to be discovered as I continue to live here. But I think that it is good for everybody to experience both cultures. So I really think that it is beneficial to live in New York once in a while and see that speed of things and how fast people are and how fast we talk and how little tolerance we have for certain things.
The next one is, how does it feel to be a woman and the president of a university?
So I think that sometimes I say that being female or a woman in certain things is harder, because there's some unconscious bias that people have. There are things that you don't know that you have a bias or a reaction, but they're still there. So I think that I am very proud to be on the position that I am. I have faced many things, but also have many blessings to be able to come here and to be a role model for our students to show that si se puede, that you can do it. I think that sometimes we have more pressures than because we have kids and we have to be sure. I have 3 grown-up kids, but I have 3 kids going through my career, ensuring that they're successful too. So we are multitasking all the time. So I think that the most important thing that I feel being the president of an institution is to ensure that, as I say before, I serve as a role model to show to other people that you can do it. And that it's not a gender or a race or my accent or the way I look. It's just your work. And that if that's your dream, it's achievable. So I think CSU overall, we have 23 different universities, and they're all the presidents are very diverse. The majority are females, women. The chancellor is a Hispanic woman, so I think that when you look at how the directorship of this amazing institution is very diverse and very inclusive. That's not the same everywhere. So we have to be very proud in California to have such a diverse group of presidents.
Yeah. This is a fun one. What are your hobbies, or what do you do for fun during your free time?
Well, I have a dog that is a monster. He used to be a terror, so now he's a monster, so I'm trying to train him. Charlie and I go to the beach a lot whenever we have free time. I really tend to have a couple of hours just for me, and that includes just walking the dog or or running. I do a lot of physical activity. I like to cook. And the most crazy thing is I like Korean movies and Korean shows, so I'm always binging K-dramas and Netflix, so that's my free time.
That's fun. Where do you see the university in 5 years?
So I think that CSUMB is a unique institution. It is ranked number 6 public institution in the U.S., and number 2 on upper mobility. It means that the students that come here, they move forward financially. And so those are really important distinctions. We also have a lot of top-notch programs. For example, our online computer education is ranked number 2. Our nursing program is ranked. And so we have many, many jewels that people don't know about them. Mm-hmm. So I hope that in 5 years, the community realize what an amazing institution is on their backyard, and that we continue to be top-notch, mid-sized public residential institution, helping the community by ensuring that our students will be the workforce needed for the county. So I'm very, very proud of what the university is. So I wish that in 5 years people see what I see being the president and understand how amazing this institution is.
And then the last question is, what advice do you have for female students who hope to achieve or success their dreams?
So I think the number one thing is to know your value. Society have, a perception of who you are, but you have to know who you are. And that I think that, you don't let other people define you. You define yourself. That's the number one thing. I always say what Beyonce say, which is like, if you have a crown, don't look down because it's going to fall. So my second advice is to ensure that when you're going through life, you don't look down because, you have worked so hard to be the person that you are. So besides the value is to ensure that you're proud of what you have achieved. That's the second advice. And the third one is kind of interconnected. Don't let other people define what you can or cannot do. Mm-hmm. It's up to you to ensure that you do what you need to do. And whatever decision you do, it is okay. I mean, you really kind of realize, and I'm in the stage of my life, I'm 61, going to be 61 this year, that you realize that the most important thing in life is your perception of yourself and to love yourself. Love others, but love yourself equally. So I think that anything is achievable, that we just set a goal and just move toward that goal, even if you crawl some days or you walk or other days you run. Once you have the direction you want to go, just go. And that direction can change.
Yeah. So. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. This was my pleasure. And thank you.